Hi there. So it goes without saying, really, doesn't it, that there are currently many issues that we're all dealing with that are affecting our lives around COVID-19. In particular, Finch Consulting have been thinking about those elements of the UK industry who, for whatever reason, are in lockdown or under what could be considered to be an extended unplanned outage. So I'd like to talk briefly about some of our thoughts before many production wheels start to turn again. Eventually, we'll come out of all of this, and the main focus for many will be the new way of working with restrictions on physical distancing and the logistics around our fellow workers and how we actually operate again. However, for some, there may well also be other factors that we need to consider. Many people will be already on top of all of this, and it's definitely not my intention to teach people how to suck eggs. But even if this assists just a few people, or even just one person, then I'll be quite happy. So to that end, I have considered 5 tips for especially those where operations are temporarily suspended or at the very least downscaled. And I'll make reference to the provision and use of work equipment regulations known as PURE, the lifting operations and lifting equipment regulations, LOLA, and also the pressure safety systems regulations, PSSR. So my first point would be the review of machinery maintenance schedules. Do you need to revise the schedule priorities based on what is currently due against maybe identifying the weakest link in the production chain? What is going to fail when you start up potentially. It's also a chance to analyse the patterns of failures and breakdowns historically in order to focus effort in one particular area or a number of areas. Point number 2 would be redundancy. What is your plan if a machine will not start or has a fault that will not clear? Have you stored spares? Or if they need to be ordered, what is the lead time to get those spares on site? It's also a good time to revisit the standard operating procedures, the SOPs, which would include the pre-use checks and inspections, and also the safety considerations under the Health and Safety at Work Act and PURE. Basically, are your procedures fit for purpose? Now, if you're in a quiet sort of production regime at the moment, or indeed you're fully stopped, consider bringing any planned outages forwards in order to prevent production interruptions, especially just as you're getting back into normal jogging after a long time off. So seize this opportunity to revise the PPM schedules and try and coincide them with the statutory inspection periodicities and due dates, particularly under the LOLA and PSSR regulations. My point number 4 is, funnily enough, the statutory inspections themselves, and the competent person under the statutory inspections, they are actually conducting thorough inspections and have done for quite a while. HSE, in fact, have given very clear guidance on this, which can be found on the Finch website. And what they're saying is that there is no quarter in allowing for inspections to go beyond the statutory due date. So this is an excellent time to look at the periodicities of these inspections that you may have and correspond those with the maintenance schedules and make efficiencies where equipment needs to be stripped down for inspection, for example, or where during normal production access to parts can be awkward or even impossible. So speak to your inspection providers. Build and maintain that relationship whilst arranging the inspections so that they are brought forwards where possible in order to suit your current situation, and it would also help to bring any skewed or out of phase dates back into alignment. Simple things that would be easy to complete during a shutdown, for example, under the stat inspections, will be sending safety valves off away for bench testing. NDT on boilers, etc., or bringing in cherry pickers to examine overhead cranes and tracks. It may also be that postponements on PSSR equipment may need to be considered, but this requires planning with a competent person, and also notification needs to be given within a specific time frame to HSE with your intent and the rationale as to why you want to postpone. And 5.5, last but not least, is paperwork. Are you in control of your documentation? Are you HSE, UCAS, ISO audit ready? Where are your declaration of conformity certificates for all of the plant and machinery that you have, if you've got them? Do you know where your written scheme of examinations are? You'd be surprised actually how many people don't, which is a bit of a concern because they have to be reviewed every thorough examination. So when were they last reviewed and by whom? Are they still fit for purpose? That's something that your competent person should be able to help you out with if you're not able to do that yourselves. Is your COSH and environmental management paperwork up to date and relevant? Now is the time to get on top of all of that if you haven't done so already. And it's my opinion that accidents are more likely to happen when people have been away for a while and launch straight back into work at full tilt. So, in addition to all the other documentation, a review of your risk assessments, your emergency response procedures, your training records, your training plans. All of these are key, but even at the best of times, they're often neglected. This is an opportunity for you to get these squared away. So to summarise, point 1, review and prioritise the maintenance required to get going. 2, plan for failure but also prevention. Check your SOPs. 3, review the PPMs and coincide where possible with the statutory inspections. 4, understand what is required of the statutory inspections and capitalise on any downtime currently in place. And 5, last but not least, again, get your paperwork squared away and ensure it's fit for purpose. Think worst case scenario, am I ready for a visit from the HSE? In essence, there are things that you can do to mitigate the risk and prevent damage to machinery, and ultimately the goal is to keep people safe. Has to be. The temptation, however, is to run up to full production really quickly in order to steal a march on competitors, satisfy shareholders and also customers. That is only a natural part of the businesses that we're all in. However, if failure of machinery occurs, then the cost and the downtime can be detrimental and put you weeks or months behind. And if there is an incident, then the last thing you want is an enforcement notice from HSE, or worse, an injury to an employee, or worse still. All of these would put you in a position with other further economic challenges to what we're all looking at the moment. Now, obviously, my 5 tips are not exhaustive, but hopefully this is of some help. Please continue to stay safe, and Finch Consulting wishes everyone all the best for a hopeful and sunnier future. Thank you.